Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're hearing my voice from. Today is Sunday, the 27th of July 2025. We thank God by His grace and mercy. He has preserved us to see another wonderful and glorious week. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that says, Who is in the ship with you? Who is in the ship with you? And I'm reading from the book of Acts, chapter 27, verse 33 to 36. And I read, And while the day was coming on, Paul besought them all to take meat, saying, This day is the 14th day that ye have tarried and continued fasting, having taken nothing. Wherefore I pray you to take some meat, for this is for your health, for there shall not an hair fall from the head of any of you. And when he has thus spoken, he took bread and gave thanks to God in presence of them all. And when he had broken it, he began to eat. Then were they all of good cheer, and they also took some meat. So this is Apostle Paul talking to other prisoners that were in the ship with him. They were all on their way to Rome. And they couldn't eat, they couldn't drink. They were all in fear because of the storm, they encountered on the sea and everything. So they couldn't do anything. There was fear, among all of them. And Apostle Paul came up to encourage them. He said, you know what? Try and eat something. Try and drink. He gave them words of encouragement. And he told them, he said, nobody is going to die here. All of you, all of us on this ship, that they are going to arrive safely. And, because he spoke, after speaking and everything, he now took bread, and they made, he blessed it, he broke it, and he ate in their presence. And the moment he started eating, everybody, they were so happy, they were so cheerful and everything, and they all ate and they drank. That's why I said, who is in the ship with you? We all go through stuff in life and everything, but who is there? Who are those around us when you are going through those things? It matters a lot who is with you when you are going through this journey, or when something happens. Some of them, it can be sickness, or some maybe they lose a loved ones, or maybe you lost your job, or you lost a contract, and everything. Who are those speaking into your life at that moment? Who are those in the ship with you at that moment? We have to pray for God to bring people around us. And the people we want around us are people that will hold our hands, that will encourage us with words, with scriptures, with so many things. Some, some of them, when you lose someone, they bring food, so many things. Some of them will just call you on the phone to encourage you. And that was what Paul did. Paul was in the ship with them, and he was able to encourage them with his words and with his action again, by telling them that, this thing I said is true, breaking the bread and encouraging them to eat. We can take the story of Moses, for example, when they were fighting the Amalekites. You remember when the Lord told him that he has to raise up the rod and when he raised it up, they will win and everything. They will be winning the war. But the moment he brings down his hand, what happens? The Amalekites, they start taking over, winning the one. When Aaron and all saw what was happening, they put a stone under him so that he can sit down, and they both raised his hand. So you can see that is the support he had. Imagine if those people were not there, they would have lost. The Amalekites would have defeated them. But because he had people that could support him, he had people that could encourage him, when his strength was failing, when he couldn't hold on because his hands was heavy, he couldn't hold on anymore, they did what? They came in and they supported him. So who is in the ship with you? It's very, very important to see who are there with us in our time of need, in our time of of trials, of challenges. Who is there with us? When you just lost your job, who was there with you? So we have to pray for God to send the right people our ways. There are some people they are in your life, you think they are your best friend, you say they are this, your sister and all that. It's when those things raise their heads, when you start having those challenges, then you will see who they truly have. Because some of them, they will be like the wife of Job. You know what Job's wife told him? He said, curse God and die. Of course, there was so many troubles, so many challenges, but that was the only solution she could keep. And we have people like that, that the answers they are giving, the solution they are bringing, it's what will even make the problem to be worse, or that can even kill someone. And some, they are not even there, they are there to mock, to gossip, to judge and everything. That's why we have to pray to God to send the right people our way. Just like Moses had the right people with him during the war, and just like Apostle Paul was there to encourage those people. So what role we should ask ourselves as well? What role are we playing in the lives of people, of family members, of friends, of neighbors, of colleagues, that we know they are going through challenges, that we know that one thing or they need help one way or the other? What role are we playing in their lives? It's not what role are they playing in our lives only, but what role are we playing as a believer, as a true Christian? We can take the story of Dorcas, for example, in the book of Acts, and I think in the book of Acts, yes, we can take the story of Dorcas, for example. What happened to, I think, Acts 9, yeah. When she died, Dorcas of Joppa, when she died, all the widows, those that she have helped, they refused. They were like, no, that you don't have a right to take this woman. And they did all they could. They sent for Paul, because Paul was in the next city. They sent for Peter, Apostle Peter, because it was in the next city, and he went, and after praying and everything, she came alive. It's not, we are not saying Peter, Apostle Peter is the one that has the power. No, it is through God that he was able to do it. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can see the people that surrounded Dorcas at that time. They refused to give up, and they did all they could to make sure that she was restored back. They did all they could to make sure that death loses grip on her, because they knew it wasn't her time. And they looked at it, this is what she has done. She has sown into their lives. That was why she was able to get all those supports. But the most important thing, what I'm trying to say here, what supports do you have? If we look around and we see we don't have that, it's something we really need to pray about, to see God. You don't need 200, you don't need 5, even one, just one person. Just one person is enough. I pray the Lord help us, that this message will help us and will build us up, for us to be a good support to people in and around us. And I pray that the Lord in his mercy will surround us with people that will be of help, of assistance, to us, to encourage us through words, through whatever means that the Lord is going to use them for, during our challenges, during our trials, during, when we're going through so many stuff. I pray that the Lord send people our way, to help us to go through that journey as we are walking it, in Jesus' name. Do have a blessed and glorious week. Bye.